I'm going to get cracking on my talk. I don't have any jelly dongs in my presentation, unfortunately. But so what I'm going to give the talk on. So my name is Alan. I'm from a company called RealX Payments. We're a payment gateway. We've just recently launched a new Magento module. So what my talk is on is kind of 5 tips around making your Magento site pay. So I'm just going to go jump through. So I'm not a salesperson. I'm a solution architect. So my responsibility is to kind of work with third-party platforms such as Magento, Hybris, OpenCart, etc. Basically working with SIs and building modules and links, basically to link, the platform up to with ourselves. So just a bit of background quickly on RealX and who we are. So we're a payment gateway originally founded in Ireland. We process 24 billion sterling a year for about 12,500 clients. So that's across a range of corporate and SME clients. Processed in 30 countries, and the 5 nines uptime as a payment gateway is kind of what you strive to achieve. So just to give you a bit of a background as to kind of why we, are interested, why we work with Magento, why we're interested in Magento. So we have a little over 500 clients. So that's on both community and enterprise. So that's going from the small SMEs right up to some large corporate clients. So we, as I mentioned, we recently built a new module, freely available on Connect. So the reason we built it, I guess we were looking for a solution that was feature rich, intuitive, dealt with the likes of fraud, optimization, all these kind of different tips which I'm going to go into now in a few minutes. So just to start off, the first tip that I'm going to look at is kind of store optimization. So I'm going to show a video. So I've just taken a quick, made a quick kind of screen grab of the module itself. So this is just, you'll notice this is the kind of community 1.9 out of the box. So the integration type supports both an API integration, so where payments are taken on the merchant server, and a hosted payments page integration as well. So both readily available out of the box, both of which are fully responsive, which I'm going to show you now. So I'm going to check out with the HPP. So as you can see, as soon as I click to pay with the hosted payments page option, I've just named it like this for convenience. It can be called whatever you guys want. I've it set up to automatically save cards to the vault. So you can see the message here, which I've decided myself, is just that the card details will be stored automatically. Alternatively, if you want to give that option to your customers, you can have a tick box there to say, would you like to store your card details for future purposes? I've just selected it as an auto save option. So this, with the hosted payments page option, so this is kind of this, out of the box, there's 3 kind of variations of the hosted payments page that we support, all of which are fully responsive. So this kind of Lightbox implementation here, where basically we've loaded the hosted payments page into this iframe. So the contents of this payment form here reside in our server, so that compliance then sits with ourselves out of the box. This is how the hosted payments page looks. So I guess one of the great selling points, I'm going to show you another method of it in a minute, is this completely be stripped down. So it's all just a standard HTML and CSS template. You can pull all that away. If you have your own color schemes or fonts or whatever, you can apply your own template to that, style it as you will, to give that kind of brand continuity. All across the the duration of the transaction. Again, kind of going back to optimization and also tying into the conversion piece, which I'm going to go into next. You'll see when I enter my card number, it's not a big piece, but I know certain merchants can be quite nitty-gritty about the less steps the customer has to take, the better. So you'll see there is no card selection option. So as soon as the card is entered, we identify it as Visa card, and then that piece is taken away. So it's just, it's one less step for the merchant to take, or for the customer to take. Worth noting as well, so our host payments page, as I've mentioned, with regard to kind of the optimization piece, dynamically responsive out of the box, but also what you can do, so based on the user agent, we will load up an individual version, the user agent detected, we will load up an individual version of this host payments page. So what that means for merchants is you can style it individually for, say, if you have maybe a standard desktop store which is styled, in one way, and then maybe your mobile store is, completely unique in how it's styled. You can upload individual or apply individual templates based on the user agent detected. So again, also just worth noting, based on okay, so if I'm checking out in this on my mobile as well, when I go to check out, first of all, it'll respond to whatever it's loaded into, but also when I go to, say, enter my card number, enter my expiry, enter my security code, rather than pulling up the standard keyboard, it'll actually pull up the dial pad, just to make it that little bit easier for the customer to enter the digits. Once you want the cardholder name, then obviously the standard keyboard will be pulled up. So it's little pieces like that, pulling away the card choice option, pulling up the dial pad on mobile devices or tablets, depending on what makes it easier for customers to kind of check out. If you like, by all means, this is just a kind of a test site I have. So if you want to test it out, by all means, please do. So that was the kind of also just worth noting. All of what I'm going to show you is configurable straight out of the box. So it's not a case of hacking it to load it into a Lightbox or hacking it to embed it in a payment form. It's available out of the box, or if you want the standard redirect, which you've probably all seen before, where it redirects away to its own page. So that obvious redirect is there, supported again. So basically, what we're kind of going to hammer down this optimization piece is like, irregardless of whether you're using the host payments page or the standard API, which you'll have all seen, where the payment is taken on the Magento checkout, it's fully optimized. So the next option, so also worth noting, because I stored my card details in first checkout, you can see the third payment option now has come up. So that's the tokenization piece. So what I've done here, so rather than loading that into a Lightbox, I've loaded it into an embedded iframe on the page. So as you saw last time, it came up in that Lightbox. Now I've basically just flicked the switch to say I want to display that payment form in line. So it's loading directly in line in the page. Again, the contents of this payment form reside in our server, so that compliance lies with ourselves. And then the final checkout piece, which will bring me on to tip number 2, which is kind of about boosting conversion. I'm going to demo the one-click or tokenization piece. So send it off, and then I get my response down in real time. So when I return here, so what you can see, I've checked out and I've stored 3 cards against my account. So we use a kind of a dual tokenization system. So under my own profile, I can store numerous cards under my account, and all the management of my cards can be done, by the merchant and by the customer alike. So what we're kind of hammering down here about conversion is, pulling less clicks away. So because I've checked out, maybe I'm a recurring customer, maybe I'm constantly returning to the site, I've decided, okay, I want to store my card, or maybe the merchant has taken it into their hands to say, okay, we're going to auto-store all cards. So when I come back to pay, I select the card that I want to charge, the security code pops up, and it's literally just those 3 digits I need to enter. Likewise, again, that's just a configuration switch on my end. If I wanted to disable security code, so if I want to process what I call non-secure transactions, depending on your merchant service agreement, maybe that's what you want to do, because you're more concerned with boosting the conversion and taking that non-secure transaction fee. It's a flick of a switch in the Magento config to just turn that security code off and have that genuine one-click payment. So what I'll do is enter that security code, click continue, and place order. So let's kind of jump back to the slides here. So what's also worth noting here is for both the integration types that were just shown there, so the responsive hosted payments page and then that kind of tokenization, that one-click piece. no compliance has gone back to the merchant in either case because the card details were captured, on our own hosted payments page on our own payment form. The card details were stored. We sent back 2 tokens to log against that customer's account, and then for all subsequent transactions, it's just a case of sending those tokens in an XML request to ourselves to authorize that card. So the next piece that kind of we wanted to go into was like the order management piece. So we constantly hear it that having to work from 2 admin tools, maybe your own payment gateways admin tool along with your Magento backend can be a bit of a headache trying to reconcile from both. So what we've done is we've pulled all of our actual order management and embedded it directly into the Magento backend. So, voiding your orders, refunding your orders, settling your orders, all can be done directly in the Magento backend. So it's not a case of, going into your payment gateways admin tool, voiding orders, and then updating that order status in Magento. So kind of keeping it all, in the backend, built in and supported. Another piece that we implemented bespokely for one of our enterprise clients was this, what we call an order management cleanup. So again, everything I'm talking about is, out of the box in the module. So what it was, they were a big sunglasses retailer, and during Christmas and summer seasons, they had sales. So they'd have a lot of stock that they just wanted to get out the door, as quick as. So what they found is, those payments which failed, which were caught up in maybe a payment review status, was holding up stock. So other people came, maybe they wanted to clear out certain brand of sunglasses. That stock was held up in someone else's basket, the orders failed and they've left it there. What we've done is we've built in an order cleanup function, which basically it's a cron job. So that runs in the background, which basically says you can specify a time in either minutes or hours, which runs to say, okay, if a basket has been open in their payment review status for maybe 2 hours during your sales period, you want to return that stock back in to free it up and then someone else can take it. It's a case of just setting your time limits in the Magento backend and running that. One other piece that we did for another large marketplace was a partial tokenization integration. So what that does is, I don't know if you're familiar with the term multi-settle. I don't know if anyone come across what multi-settle or know what multi-settle is. So basically what multi-settle is, it's when you put a transaction through, so maybe you're a marketplace such as Not in the High Street, for example, and you're shopping from different retailers and you say 3 goods in your basket. Not in the High Street then need to reconcile that transaction against the 3 different retailers that you've purchased those goods from. So what they used to do is you'd used to put the transaction through for the combined total of those 3 goods, and then Not in the High Street, for example, would send individual settle requests. That's basically take the individual chunks of that payment in 3 parts, so they could reconcile against the individual retailers that the basket consisted of. So what we've done for you can apply it to a marketplace, or you can apply it to maybe maybe a case where you have I'm checking out and I have 3 goods in my basket, but maybe only 2 of those are in stock and 1 of them isn't. But I want to ship that first good, take the payment for that first good, and then at a later date when that 3rd good comes back in, I'm going to invoice for that. So what we've done is how this works. Then it's when the customer is checking out initially, we'll save the card to the vault. We'll take a nominal transaction, so you have the choice to take maybe a single £1 or the whole value of the order. We'll store that card. Then what you'll do then, so that authorization is open on that card. When you want to maybe charge for the first 2 goods and ship them, what you do is you raise. So the order will appear in the Magento backend. Then you have the option to invoice individual orders. Individual products in that cart. So you can raise invoices for maybe the first 2 products, charge for them, leave the 3rd product open, and then as soon as that product comes back in, you can then raise the invoice for that and charge for that. Because you have that card stored, you can basically raise the authorization against that card, as you're ready to charge for it and ship it. So that's the partial tokenization piece again, which was built for one of our larger enterprise clients. So tip 4 then is kind of around beating fraud. So what we've done here, we've built logic into the basically kind of pre-authorization and post-authorization logic. So what you can do, say if you can set up individual rules. So here's just one rule I've set up, for example. So what I can say is, okay, maybe I want to send transactions from Ireland that are above 500 quid. I want to send all of those transactions only to 3D Secure, and only if it's the first authorization. So the first time I'm checking out, I have a high basket. Maybe I don't trust Irish people. Fair enough. What you're going to do is you're going to send all of those transactions to 3D Secure. But then, okay, maybe I'm a returning customer and you've done some KYC on me, you know me, you like me. Then, okay, I'm a returning customer, even if it's above, say, 500 quid again, but it's it's a tokenized transaction. I'm going to send that to a different sub account, and I'm not going to put 3D Secure on it. So basically, you can deploy all these different rules. You can use them in conjunction with each other to channel transactions. Do you want to send it to 3D Secure? Do you want to send it to a certain sub account? So at the RealX payments level, you can have individual sub accounts under your account to say, okay, I want to block certain issuing countries. So I want to only accept payments from GB issued cards, say. So you can basically channel these transactions, build the logic in pre-authorization, and then send them whatever way you want and do your individual fraud checks that way. So that's kind of pre-authorization piece. Then what we've also done is on post-authorization. So just to give you a picture of where we are now. So I've checked out, maybe I've validated myself through 3D Secure. That transaction has gone off to the bank. It's been authorized successfully. The bank have said, yeah, okay, that's authorized. But maybe, okay, you're still not happy with it. So maybe you have a rule of thumb that you don't want to take payments that the CVN has not matched, or for whatever reason the bank hadn't checked it. So it's not black and white that if your security code fails that the bank will definitely fail it. But maybe you want to have rules set up here that, okay, the security code has come back anything other than matched. So I'm not comfortable with that. So what I want to do I want to fail it and void it, or do I want to put it as order review? So have it kind of in a review state. So any transactions which aren't fitting my criteria. So whether it's the 3D Secure rules, so that's what the ECI value here relates to, or whether it's down to AVS, or whether it's down to the CVN, the security code. If I'm not comfortable with it, I can put it as a status of order review, leave it in what's called kind of a hold stage. So the authorization is held on the card, but you're not sending that transaction to settle at the bank. So it's waiting there, and then maybe one of your staff can then have it glance an eye over it. Maybe it's a customer you're familiar with, you know them. So you've then the option to, okay, do you want to settle that transaction, or do you want to void that transaction? The final piece then, the tip 5, is just like what we're kind of looking at here is basically giving your shoppers, your customers, options. So we can kind of look at that under a number of different areas. So currencies, are you offering multiple currency options? What payment methods are you offering? What languages are you showing the payment page in? Are you going off to a payment? Is your maybe your whole checkout translated to say French, but then when you come to that hosted payments page, you're using the same hosted payments page across all of your sites, and then at that point, then it's just translating, defaulting back to English, and is that causing guys to drop off? Your customers dropping off then. So I'll start off then on kind of payment options. So an interesting one that I kind of stat that I came across when I was kind of putting this together was that I think it's like 4 million out of the 80 million population, so the banking population in Germany, their preferred method to actually check out is with a credit card. So obviously in the UK, we know kind of card is king. That's not, the same case across Europe. I don't know where, you guys are from, but so the likes of, okay, offering alternative payment methods, we call them, so the likes of bank-to-bank transfers, so the likes of SoFort and GiroPay. Are these payment options being offered, upon checkout? Are you just, making all your customers, pay with their card, and that's the only option you're supporting? So it's kind of given the payment methods and payment options that, depending on what location you're working in, what is their preferred option? So it's basically what we're trying to drill down here is just making sure that the payment options suit the clientele you're trying to attract or you're trying to get sales off of. The currency piece, so looking at, okay, well, are you only operating in the UK? Are you trying to spread across Europe? Are you trying to go into the US? Are you looking at, so there's two ways to look at kind of currencies. You can look at multi-currency processing, so like for like processing. So maybe you need individual merchant service agreements in different currencies, or do you want to look at what's called a dynamic currency conversion, which is basically upon checkout, a real-time exchange rate is shown to the client, and they have the option there to say, okay, I want to pay with my own Irish, my Euro card, or do I want to pay in the merchant space currency, which is maybe sterling, for example. So it's just kind of considering, the benefits for the customer in that case, for example, are, if I'm checking out with my Irish card and someone is using dynamic currency conversion, once my card is entered, I'm shown two payment options. So I can pay in euro or I can pay in sterling, for example. Myself, if I choose the euro piece, then I know exactly what I'm paying, exactly what I'm being charged, where rather than, relying on my bank, to give me some exchange rate that, I'm maybe wary about it being horrendous or whatnot. The last piece then is language. So, is your payment page multilingual? Can you dynamically differentiate the languages, based on where the client is coming from? Can you send that in a post to ourselves to pull up, a language based on the fact that they're coming from maybe your French store or, your Spanish store? So that's the 5 tips. So it's kind of optimizing your store, looking at the boosting conversion, the order management piece, the beating fraud, and then the options for the shoppers. Cheers for listening.